Everyone, Tim Brown, welcome back to my Apple Podcast. I'm going to focus on Apple Music. There are a lot of things that are new and different because of Apple Music. A lot of people are really concerned about how to distinguish their music, say from Apple's music. I'm going to show you a few tips to help clarify the difference between the two. So actually, I'm going to start by importing one of my CDs into my library, and then I'm going to walk you through the steps of how you can begin to distinguish those files from Apple's music library. So when you import a CD into your computer, and if you don't have an optical drive, I recommend getting an external CD reader, which I'm using right here. So I just imported this album in, and it's prompting me to import into iTunes. I'm going to say no for now. Now you're going to see there's a menu on the top right hand side. I'm going to click Options, and I'm going to get track names. That's going to give me all the correct titles for each song as well as the name of the artist. And now I'm ready to actually import it into my library. Now this is going to take a while, but while this is happening, there's one other thing that you need to do before importing your CD. You're going to go to iTunes and you're going to go to Preferences. You're then going to, under General, you're going to look for when a CD is inserted down there at the bottom. And I have here selected Ask to Import CD. Then under Import Settings, I have import using AAC encoder. That's very important. Once you choose that, then your files are going to be imported into the AAC format, which will then enable you to transfer those files to iCloud. Otherwise, the files will not be read. For example, if your CD happens to have songs that are in the AIFF file format, then you won't be able to transfer those files to the cloud and you won't be able to read them across your devices. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind when you're importing CDs into your library. Okay, so as you can see, my import is complete with all the titles and the artist title all now imported into my library with the AAC conversion format. So if I go back to music, you can see that Hang Tough has been added to my library. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now right click on this because the album artwork did not appear automatically. And I'm going to just select Get Album Artwork. And you notice that iTunes unfortunately was not able to find this particular one. But I can easily fix that. I'm actually going to go online very quickly, find the album cover art, and import it right into my album. Great, so I found the album cover art. I'm going to go ahead and just save this to an area in one of my folders called Album Artwork. Now back in iTunes, I'm going to select that file once again where all the songs have been imported. And by the way, if I select that, you can see all the titles that have been added to that particular album. But we're just missing the artwork. So I'm going to go to Get Info and Edit Items. And I'm going to select more than one because I'm going to edit all of them. And you can see the title information is there. I'm going to go ahead and just add the artist under Album Artist as well. Cool, have jazz, that's fine, but artwork is missing. So now I'm going to go ahead and add artwork, and I'm going to go ahead to Album Artwork, and I'm going to find that recent one that I just imported, which is Ethnic Ensemble Hang Tough. Click Open, and I'm going to click OK. And voila, that artwork has now been added to my library. So now the question is, how do I distinguish my songs from Apple Music songs? Well, that's pretty simple if you have a Mac, because the songs from Apple Music are not going to be on your computer. They're in the cloud. So right away you know what songs are yours because you own yours. They're stored locally within your folder. Wherever you keep your backup of your files locally, that's where they are, and you know that they're yours. For example, I'm going to go ahead and pull up Finder window here, and you'll see under iTunes folder there's iTunes Music, and that's where all of my files that I have stored locally can be found. And you will notice that that file that I just imported is right here under Ethnic Heritage Ensemble, and the title of the album is Hang Tough. So it's added there automatically along with all of my other songs. There are no songs from Apple Music that I have set up that can be found here. The only files that you can find from Apple Music are songs that you decided to listen to for offline listening. In which case, yes, they will be stored on your hard drive somewhere, or in this case, on an external drive, but they're going to be in a different location to distinguish those files from yours. And they're going to be in a folder called Apple Music. When you select Apple Music, you will see a folder of the songs that you decided to download for offline listening. And these songs will not belong to you. For example, there was an album that I downloaded from Apple Music called Something Wonderful by Nancy Wilson. And when you look at these files, you'll see that they have a suffix of M4P. P stands for protected. That means that these files are protected and I'm unable to use them for my own personal use. In other words, I do not own them. I'm borrowing these files or these songs for offline listening. Now, in the past, you used to be able to convert the M4P files to the AAC format by burning them to a disk and then re-importing them into your library. But that no longer works. Now, if you have another formula for doing that, hey, I would love to know it. But right now, these files are protected and they are not intended to be owned by you. And that's an easy way to distinguish your music from Apple's music. Now, you can also view your songs right within the iTunes library by going to View and then just selecting Offline Music. So all the music that you see here is music that I imported into my library myself. But you can also see songs that you have downloaded for offline viewing. So if you recall, the album that I saved by Nancy Wilson, Something Wonderful, is still here in my library, right here. And when you select it, you can see that these songs have been downloaded for offline listening. I just don't own them. And you will find the same thing on your iOS devices as well. And likewise, it's very easy to view your offline music when you're on your iOS device. So for example, under My Music, you can see where I have albums. I'm going to go ahead and just select albums. And then you'll see right along the bottom there, only offline music. Just go ahead and just select that and move it over so that it's green. And then you will see only the songs that you've downloaded to your device directly and or from Apple Music's iCloud for offline listening. So I hope that clarifies the difference between Apple Music stored in the cloud and your own music, which you store locally on your computers and devices. This is Tim Brown. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. Check me out next time.